One auntie comes and says, you should do a banking job because people like women who have banking jobs for marriage. Journalism was never conventional. People would just tell me directly, this is not for you. Will you really be able to do it? You're so quiet. And most of them aunties. I'm sorry, but
As a journalist, how hard or easy is it for a woman?
No, it is unsafe to step out because this is what happens.
on ground reporting, I've had women who've told me that they didn't have washrooms available. A lot of them contracted diseases because of that. You would just have random glares, random people touching you, and it really scared me. You just have to be very professional at that point in time.
As a young mother, your biggest challenge in all these years?
I had a C-section. I had postpartum depression. The pain didn't go away for ages. I mean, I couldn't recognize my own body.
I agree. I mean, it was a nightmare for me when I had my child to get back to work.
But you're expected to know everything, which is not right. People are coming inside and, oh, how's the daughter? Nobody once asked me how I was.
Today, I am feeling a little overwhelmed because my guest is Sonal Bhutra Malu of CNBC. And she's the expert about speaking in front of a camera. But here I am bringing her views to you. So, welcome to Beyond Pink, Sonal. This conversation has so many angles to unpack. It's about traditional media, it's about journalism, women in journalism, motherhood. So, given that, you work at a channel which is headed by a woman.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the contradiction that I see is the channel is a financial sector
Yeah.
channel. As a sector, doesn't have too many women in it. So now, as a female journalist in the financial services channel, what are the contradictions that you come across? And I'm sure there must be so many.
Yeah, so with the channel, I think it's a bastion for feminism in every form.
Okay.
We are headed by a very strong female leader.
Yes.
In our team, we have more females than males. So much
Okay.
so that people casually joke about how they are the minority and we are the majority and there should be rights with them. Of course, that's just a joke. But as you said, financial services, and also saying it because I have worked in financial sector before
Yeah.
that as well. As
Okay.
a research analyst in a brokerage firm where I was the only girl in
Wow.
the research team.
Wow.
And I made a switch where there were so many women and hardly any boys. So there is a stark difference, which the shift showed me the positive side of that as well. Yes, I would still say in financial services, we don't have too many leadership positions at the top, barring few of them. Even in mutual fund industry, we don't have many female CEOs. I can actually count them on my fingertips,
Yeah.
whoever are heading
Yeah.
some of these AMCs. And that is the biggest issue. I think when it comes to finances, I've seen, here we are talking about a sector as a whole. It is very difficult for people to trust women with money, which is a very weird thing that I think people think. I don't know what makes them think that, because they would be seeing it at their homes, that their mothers are managing the household budgets, they are saving, and they are investing it back, even if it's via their fathers or brothers or whoever. That is another topic to discuss though. But people might not take you so seriously. It does happen quite often. So unless you back it up by research or you back it up by accurate data, people will still go to the men first. It's a general societal construct or a general perception problem that I have seen. It is not there in the newsroom at all, which is they will come to the sector expert for every information that they want. So if I
Okay.
track XYZ, they will come to me for that. They will not think that it's a woman who's tracking it.
Okay.
And I'm also coming from a point where I would say 70% of my teammates are female. So they will go to the person who tracks it. So it doesn't happen there. It is coded that the person who's tracking it is the expert. But when you go outside, maybe in the industry, that's not the case. And you see it quite often. There is this code that I wish a smart woman had the confidence of a mediocre man. But that is where women lack at times, and the room doesn't make it easier for them as well.
As a journalist, right, how hard or easy is it for a woman to work in the core journalism sector?
You mean general news, or do you mean news in general?
Either financial or general news. How hard is it?
For business news or any news, again, as I said, it's a problem of perception. The second would be on-ground reporting. On-ground reporting is somewhere that you would face a lot of issues. For somebody who's covering on-ground stuff, it involves a lot of travel. I don't think we are still equipped as a country for longest work travels for women. I've had women who've told me that when they wanted to cover some stories on ground at a village level, that they didn't have washrooms available.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough safety gear available. They were scared to step out at a certain point in time. They would not go to the washroom. A lot of them contracted, issues or diseases because of that.
Yeah.
We do not take these things very seriously.
Yeah.
That is a big problem.
Yeah.
The second problem they would face when they would go on for on-ground reporting is, when you are covering a mob, a protest, or just general news on ground, safety becomes an issue.
Yeah.
It is a big issue that nobody really talks about so much. You would just have random glares, random people touching you, and you just have to be very professional at that point in time. If it's happening on air, you really can't say anything. It recently happened with a colleague of mine, and she just said that we are so used to it at times when we go on ground.
Oh dear.
So it really scared me, and because my on-ground reporting would be limited to a factory visit.
Yeah.
It would be more to do with
Secure environments.
It is largely a secure environment, but then there are women covering some protests. Suppose there are protests happening. There are no checks in place, and that is scary. That is something that should be covered in some law. There should be something around that. And second, of course, is the issues around public infrastructure where you don't have proper sanitation facilities for women. Nobody really thinks about that, but that's a big issue, and that has impacted a lot of women when it comes on ground. Apart from the equality issue, this is another issue that we really need to focus on, because a large chunk of a lot of people's job involves talking to people on ground. It involves going on ground and reporting about what's happening there. So these are some issues. Safety, definitely one, and the second is public sanitation.
And if you are good at your job, you don't want to shy away from these.
Why would you want
Why
to?
would you
right?
want to walk?
It is.
Yeah.
It is something beyond your control, and that makes you angrier,
Yeah.
right? That I am capable. It's the surroundings or the ecosystem which is not allowing me to do this for no
Yes.
fault of mine.
Yes.
That is not okay. I don't
Yeah.
think a man ever thinks before covering a protest whether I'll be safe.
Yeah.
Or where will I pee? I'm sorry
Yeah.
for lack of
Yeah.
a better
Yeah,
expression.
absolutely.
They don't have such thoughts.
Yeah.
They will not. And I'll
Yeah.
be very honest with you. Even if I'm traveling somewhere, if it is far off locations, factory visits, the first question to my mind is whether I'll be safe, whether
Yeah.
it is a factory full of male laborers. I'm not demeaning anybody,
Yeah.
but it is just a thought that comes to
Yeah.
my mind. So unless I go with the team, I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
Of course, they will take care in every way possible. I'm just saying the way we are conditioned to think. Everybody takes care of everything. But these are certain things women are always worried about, be it anywhere. So, yeah.
Is that image of the hard smoking, hard drinking, hardwired, cynical journalist, getting his stories inside a smoky bar? Is that image even true any longer?
No, I don't think so. We've
Okay.
changed. I mean, journalism has changed completely, and I think a lot of it is exaggerated the way we see it in movies also.
Absolutely.
I think it is cinema. It has to be larger than life. So
Sure.
that's how they show it.
Yeah.
That's not how journalists go around getting their stories. It's absolutely different. The way things are said about journalists, or the way things are spoken of, that's not always true. Like, journalists are humans, they also can have a POV about things. They can have an opinion about things. Of course, you have to be neutral. If you're a journalist, you have to be neutral. That's your job, to report or to analyze, to say if it's bad or or good basis your own opinion is wrong. But then that doesn't mean that there are certain stereotypes which everyone thinks of is right. Yeah, that is not how it works.
But coming to another aspect of a journalist's life. So now you are a young mother.
Yeah.
How many such media companies exist where women journalists who have families can really make it?
So I think a lot of them have done that. You will
Okay.
know people, Palki Sharma Upadhyay, Latha Venkatesh. You have many people you see on general news as well. And those are a lot of female anchors you'll see
Yeah.
on primetime shows, right? I just feel that it does get difficult because women are also conditioned to think a certain way, that whether if I reach a certain level in my career, whether I'll be able to juggle both. I don't think men ask those questions.
Absolutely not.
Your promotion after you become a father is happiness, a lot of happiness, a success party. But if it is for a mother, you have to think whether I'll be able to take the extra work or not, whether I'll be able to manage both or not. So just journalism industry, we do have a lot of women, and I can't, of course, again speak about other females in other organizations or media channels. But by the looks of it, you have Faye D'Souza, who started her own venture after being at channels for so long. So I do see them, bringing out stories. Juggling it with the work and with home, of course, is, I would say, in any industry would be difficult. Also, because of journalism, you do it 24/7.
Correct.
It is an industry which really never sleeps, because also news comes out in the middle of the night. So you have to be up and about. So it's difficult. Let me put it that way. It's not that easy for an industry like this.
Are there any challenges you have faced? I mean, of course, everybody as a young mother faces difficulties. But any particular ones that are sort of related to your profession?
You have to look perfect on air, and you have a kid crying on the side when you're working from home. I think that was just a challenge because you can't really do anything about it. You can't
Yeah.
be sending a mail and taking care of the child as well.
Right.
So at one point in time, you have to be on air. So you can't think of anything else. And challenges would be, I think this is a challenge not only for a woman who's a journalist or an anchor. It's for every woman, how you do not understand who you are. It happens after you get back to work and you think that you're leaving your child home. You are a professional, but you're also an individual. So the identity crisis hits you then. You don't wish to work, but you wish to work. You want to be home for your child, but you also think, what are you doing with your life? So those are some challenges also, because I had postpartum depression. It hit me. I didn't understand what it was. I loved the child, but I also wasn't able to understand what's happening with me. So those are some of the challenges, of course. And secondly, I have a privilege of having a support system at home. There have been times when my health hasn't been able to make it to work for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
I had to choose, of course, whether to go to work or be at home. But
Yeah.
I had a support system telling me, you go, I will take care of it.
That's very important.
I think the support system makes all the difference for a woman.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, it becomes very difficult for any woman to even think that they can continue with their career.
Yeah.
And for that, it's a must. I think every office should have a creche or a daycare or something like that. That will at least ensure there is peace of mind for a mother who's going to work if they
True.
don't have a support at home.
True. Yeah.
I don't think every organization has that support, that you have a creche or you have a small room or a daycare
Yeah.
sort of a thing,
Yeah.
where you can ensure the mothers, working mothers, that your child is safe. They are just in the vicinity. So don't worry, just focus on your work.
Yeah.
So when I speak to mothers who are in nuclear families, their biggest worry is help. So
Yeah.
they are not able to focus on their work.
No, I agree. I mean, it was a nightmare for me when I had my child to get back to work, because I had to leave the child with untrained help.
Yeah, it is difficult. Plus, the other issue that happens is some sort of societal expectation. I don't know what it is. It falls on the mother, even if she's ambitious, even if she is very driven at work. If something happens to the baby, it is the mother's fault. I don't know why is that. Your closed ones will be absolutely chill about it. My in-laws are the coolest people. I'm blessed. Touch wood. My parents,
Touch
of
wood.
course, they are chill. Parents
Yeah.
are always chill. But something happens to my daughter. Oh, mummy office gayi thi kya? And I'm like, Are, papa bhi to office gaye the. Why would you use this word, mummy to gayi hogi? So people just like to randomly
Yeah.
blame them. So I think it was
Yeah.
very emotional.
Yeah.
Managing all that
Yeah.
guilt that would not come to you automatically but be given by others. Somebody would casually say, "Tum to jaake khush ho jati hogi office." I'm like, why would you say things like that?
I know, yeah.
Mothers are already grappling with a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I had a C-section. The pain didn't go away for ages. I mean, I couldn't recognize my own body. I had to buy clothes of a bigger size. I didn't like it. It really made me think so much.
Yeah, there's a huge hormonal change that's happening inside you, and you are an individual. Why should you be treated as
Exactly.
not an individual?
No, so suddenly what happens is during pregnancy, you're treated like a queen. The moment the baby comes out, I don't know what happens. The postpartum or the post-delivery mother just becomes a mother. She's not a human.
She's a
not a
mother.
human
Yes.
anymore. That's when I realized it's so important to have people. So the first thing my father did when I delivered is, I want to see my baby, like me. So that you expect from your parents, right? They will do that for you. But I think you really need to support women during postpartum. They go through a lot emotionally, physically. They don't know what's happening hormonally. There is pain everywhere. You don't know how to breastfeed. Things are new for you. But you're expected to know everything,
Yeah.
which is not right. Secondly, they just want to be understood as a human, not as a mother.
Yeah.
It's a round-the-clock duty. And for people who are not prepared, like I wasn't, of how big of a transition this is, family support means everything. And that's where I think my in-laws and my husband were the biggest support, because I was with them at that point in time. Parents are always there. You don't even have to question that. That is never questioned. But that's when I realized that, women are not supported the way after delivery, the way they are supported during pregnancy. We
Very
need to
true.
change that.
Very true. Yeah.
It is a big, big change, and it came as a surprise. People are coming inside and, oh, how's the daughter? Nobody once asked me how I was. It was an operation. It was a major surgery, but it is considered like so okay. You gave birth, that's so okay. So I mean, that perception really needs to change. And don't label mothers as if they're going to work and leaving their child
To have fun.
stranded. No,
They're going to work to have fun.
they have a life outside motherhood.
Yeah.
And you make them question it every time you make comment like that.
Yeah.
That is not right. I think that also is one of the reasons. I was reading a stat which said that between 30 to 40, when women deliver, they do not, only I think 12.5 or 13% make it back to work.
Right.
Right? 12.5 to
Absolutely.
13% are making it
Yeah.
back to work. That's so less.
That is so low. And all that potential is just gone.
There is so much potential.
Yeah.
Indra Nooyi once said that your biological clock and career clock never matches.
Yeah.
Okay, if it isn't matching, you have understood what the problem is. Let's figure out a solution around
Yeah.
it when you know the problem. How do you do that? You encourage women who want to do it to go back to work.
Correct.
I'm again saying it's not wrong at all if you want to be at home and take care of your child. That's totally okay. But for women who want to go, encourage them. Don't make them feel bad about wanting to go back. And the best part, when my in-laws, the first thing my in-laws said is, you're going back to work, we'll take care of her. Some people came and said, "Aap isko kaam pe jaane de rahe ho?"
The word allowed.
Allowed. I'm like,
Oh my God.
like, why will I allow her? She's been working here for 8 years. One change in life will not change who she is as a person. Why would we not allow that? Again, I say it from a lot of privilege, but I have people who have left it because they were told, how will you do it?
Yeah.
How we won't manage it. It's your
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
And I just say they need support. They don't want you to look after the baby completely. They want some sort of support, some sort of assurance that what you're doing is not wrong.
Yeah.
And the other stats said that between 40s to 50s, they make a comeback. But by then, there are not enough jobs available for them.
The ship has sailed.
The
Yeah.
ship has sailed. So they take admin jobs,
Yeah.
not managerial jobs.
Yeah.
And women make for great managers.
Basically, you are just extinguishing potential
It is
for no
exactly-
reason.
It is no reason.
For some strange cultural reason, which nobody
Strange
understands.
cultural reason, and then people will say that what you're doing to the baby is not good for them psychologically, that their
Yeah.
mothers are leaving them.
Yeah.
But it shapes them to see that their mother is an independent person, the way their father
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
And young women like me do not even understand why these questions are there.
Either they just go along or they rebel.
Exactly. And so, there is a lot of conversation around again that aajkal ki ladkiyan, they rebel a lot. I think they have seen their mothers go through a certain aspect in life, or not go through, like be okay with everything. So they want to like say that, okay, let's change it. Let's not continue with it. Let us not do that,
Sure.
because we wish to change it. We wish to study. We wish to change the world in the
Yeah.
way we think
Yeah.
is fine.
Absolutely.
So because it hasn't happened before, we call it rebellion. Maybe it's just their way of living life right now. So I think that is what the change is.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what's happening.
Very true. I'm glad. So, what are the kind of things you said you are working in an organization which is very supportive of women? So, tell me a couple of examples of how they support.
If you are a mother and if you want to be a business journalist, there's no better place than CNBC TV 18 to work at.
Okay.
6 months maternity leave is something that is legally allowed. After that, they ensure that you are not uncomfortable in your work. I think I was so excited to work back after my maternity leave. I joined the first day. They asked me, do you want to take some time before you resume? Do you want to, get back into the form? And I was like, no, I joined on Thursday. Please give me all the work you can from tomorrow. To which also they said, just chill. There's one more day. We'll give you all the work from Monday. And when women are scared that they'll come back from the maternity leave and they'll not get back their work, I was given everything and more. I was asked whether I'm comfortable taking up XYZ, whether I'm comfortable taking up what I left. And they give me all of it back. The second thing is I have a small setup at home. So I have to go on air from home. They have made that possible as well. There's a full set that was sent to me home just before I joined work. So there's a hybrid policy that they've allowed for mothers if they wish to do that.
Okay.
You can easily go up to your senior and tell them that this is the issue I'm facing today. Can I work from home, or can I take an off?
Yeah.
And there's never a no. Of course, this system works on trust. They
Yeah,
are
of
trusting
course.
what you're doing,
Of
and you have
course.
to ensure that you're keeping up that trust.
Yes.
And no work is thought of in a way that whether it'll be done by Sonal or a boy. It is always done, Sonal is good at it, she'll do it. So when you don't put labels on things like that, it is incredible. And you sometimes feel that if all workplaces bring that flexibility, then women participation will automatically increase so much. Because
Absolutely.
at the channel, there are more women than men. So
Yeah.
it shows there.
Yeah. So does having a fellow journalist as a husband, does that sort of make your life easier as a professional, you think? Does he understand your motivations better?
He does. He's my biggest critique at work. He's my biggest motivator in life and at work. The best part is we understand each other's work so well that it helps us. Suddenly, if you have to, I still remember I came back from a trip after 10, 12 days, and it was a Sunday, and he said, oh, sorry, I have to go to work in an hour. If I didn't understand the work, I would have gotten very irritated.
Yeah.
But I understood. So it really helps both of us. At the same time, everything comes with its pros and cons.
And what's the con?
So since we work together, we can't really take impromptu holidays.
Okay. Yeah.
One of them, of course, everything is planned.
Yeah.
We have to plan everything. If it has to be to go to our daughter's school, one of us can go because both of us can't leave office at the same time. The second funny part is if you're not talking to each other, if you've had an argument, and if you have to do shows together, you have to be nice to each other. It is very difficult at that point in time. You have to look at each other
You are
and smile.
seething inside and you have to
And you
smile on camera.
You've not spoken to each other for 2 days and the entire night and sleeping on the other side of the bed, but in the studio you're together and you're looking at each other, introducing each other and smiling like nothing happened.
Maybe that's how you smoke the peace pipe, right? You smile so much that you actually end up smiling.
No, then the other person will be like, why is this person smiling so much? Aren't we? Isn't this argument affecting the other person? So that's the con. You still have to look at each other and smile. So yes.
So what has been your biggest challenge in all these years? Apart from, of course, Vani's, entry into your lives, that's a whole different ball game. But other than that,
Living away from family is always a challenge. I think that's when you realize what real life means.
I mean, yes, women are the largest migrant group.
Yes, they are. And I've been away from home for 15 years. I've been married for now 6 years. So a big part of my life I've spent away from living with family. The biggest challenge first would be when you come to another city, safety becomes a big issue. I think every female has that problem.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see so much in Mumbai. But you know why did I not go to Delhi? I got into Sri Ram College of Commerce because we were not sure about the safety there.
Okay.
So I let go of that because I wasn't sure whether, my parents were not very sure about the safety issues there.
Yeah.
I'm again not generalizing. I'm just saying that safety becomes such a big issue in
Of
how
course.
how
decide.
women migrates or goes to a city, that maybe education, college, job is a phenomenon you'll talk about later, but safety does become a big issue. The other challenge, of course, would be to be taken seriously at times, because even though I'm a chartered accountant, just because I was young, sometimes people would not take me seriously. But I really think that the looks that I have does not define the person that I am. It is my content. It is the person I am, how I take my work seriously, or how well read I am, and how I communicate my thoughts. So that took a
So
while.
there is a reverse ageism.
Yeah, there definitely is. There definitely is. Sometimes it does happen that, oh, you're so young, will you be able to handle it? I'm
Oh
like,
my.
yes, of course. I'm confident about it. I prepare for it, and I am very seriously considering every aspect of the work that I do. So reverse ageism definitely does happen. Yes, that is one aspect that you would say when interviews happen. Oh, you're so young. I'm like, yes, I am. But let's start it. Then you'll figure out.
Let me come to my questions first.
So, but I'll be honest with you, that comes with a lot of practice. Initially, I did let my age come in between how I thought about my profession here or anywhere else. I would think maybe I will not be able to do it because people will not take me seriously. But when you let your work speak, whether you are, again, labels become a problem.
Yeah.
If you think, oh, I'm a female, whether they'll take me seriously, it becomes a problem. You're a person asking questions. You're a person researching. Don't let labels define you. It's easy to say it at times, but that is how this world works. You have to show them your work. Put your head down, work, and they will succumb to it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I did in those initial days. I was also working as a consultant with EY, a tax consultant. So when I told them that I want to make the shift to journalism, I think those months were really difficult for me. People would just tell me directly, this is not for you. Will you really be able to do it? I don't think you're meant for it. You're so quiet. You're so powerful. You will not make it there. Somebody said, रात को 2-2 बजे तक बाहर रहना पड़ेगा, तू कर पाएगी? Like, you're not that person. Somebody told me you should do banking. You should do a banking job because people like women who have banking jobs for marriage.
Sure.
I was told that.
Marriage is the be all and end all of a woman's
I
life.
was like, what did I just hear? I was also told you should not try to reach out for something which is not conventional. Journalism was never conventional,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
It is not a conventional thing that you take up, especially after you've done your chartered accountancy. People would not expect you to do that. Oh, is it only because you think you look good that you want to go on TV?
Fantastic. That is outrageous.
And sometimes I would be like, how do I respond to these guys?
Yeah.
Because it's a mindset issue. Even if I give them some lecture right now, it's not going to change them overnight. Just do your work. Do your work and they'll see. There were some people who just actually told me, I don't think you will make it. The next time they met me, they said, we were wrong.
Yeah.
He actually remembered what
Yeah.
he said to me.
Yeah.
It was very condescending, very, in a very patriarchal way.
Yeah.
And in that time, I realized that when you want something, you have to go mad about it. I left EY. I was going to join Xavier's to just understand journalism totally. Somebody told me, don't do journalism course. You're a CA, you have financial backing. Just try and understand markets more. I was always a public speaker. So speaking on camera did come natural to me. I was blessed that way. But they just said that, try it out. Like, go out and understand markets. And that's how I joined a brokerage firm. And then they asked me to, it just worked out and I got into CNBC TV 18. At that time, I must have called some 50, 100 people just to understand whether I'm doing the right thing or not. My parents were surprised. They were like, you are at it. You're just trying to understand it from every person possible where you're making the right move or not. Because people had put so much confusion and doubt inside me that I doubted whether I'm taking the right step or not.
Yeah, sure.
But when I spoke to people and I did it, by did it, I mean I could at least get in. That was my big achievement for myself.
It is. It's a significant achievement.
That I could do what I wanted to, be it CNBC or maybe be it any other field that you want to be into. You have to have support, but you have to have your own support first.
Let the work speak for itself.
Let the work speak for itself. You can't fight every battle. You can't answer every bad mouth. If you do that, you're taking away your energy. Just don't answer them.
So here's the thing. I think that women are their own worst enemies at times because they just become so comfortable living in a very patriarchal mindset that they actually internalize that mindset. Then they don't question it. And because they have conceded, they have to defend it.
I was telling somebody, I think that they are sometimes the enablers also.
Yeah.
It is set up maybe by men, but you're enabling it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to support women. And by supporting women, you're not going against the society. You are helping society.
You are helping.
Women are 20% of GDP. I mean, you can increase it. You're not accounting for the unpaid hours. If you start accounting for it, it'll be absolutely 50-50%.
Yeah.
Whether a banking job will be good for them or they'll be a music artist, or they just have to learn, they have to be curious, and they have to enjoy what they're doing. Otherwise, what's the point of life? I mean, pehle se hi roti banao, ye karo, wo. You won't believe. I'm sorry I'm bringing it up, but I have my signature as Sonal Bhutra. When I started my first bank account, so I had Sonal Bhutra on that checkbook. So excited. One auntie comes and says, "Ye Bhutra hata de, bade hoke to change karna padega." I still remember it. You put it in a female's mind or a little girl's mind at that age. I still do Sonal Bhutra and I still remember that auntie.
But these are all incremental signals.
Smaller things.
That are just, pervading, and maybe they enter women's minds.
Yes.
And carry forward from there.
They do. These are smaller behavioral issues that we face on a daily basis, and they become a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when we got married, my husband would always say, "Just be." And I never understood what just be is, because you're always yourself, right? And then when I realized there are these invisible expectations the society has of a woman. The first thing that I was asked, will you change your job because you both work at the same place? And I'm like, did you ask that to Mangala? And they were like, no, we thought you will. I was like, why? Don't. Like, the question that I would say is not, Ari, how can you ask this? I'm like, why is it only asked to me? Why would you do that? So, and most of them aunties. I'm sorry, but...
I like the word aunties.
We'll meet
have you seen that movie Dil Dhadakte Do?
I have, yes.
And there's one scene in that where
auntie लोगों को कोई काम नहीं है क्या?
Get a job.
And she's like, इस उम्र में हमें कौन job देगा? That's what we think. Like women are just conditioned, right? That हमें कुछ, like, we won't be able to do anything. We literally have to push our mothers nowadays that no, get out of this routine. Do this, do that.
Yeah.
But you have so much self-doubt. Why do you have so much self-doubt? Maybe the society has come together to create that doubt in your mind. I don't think any woman is any less capable. Women are as capable because you're humans first. So God has given everyone equal capabilities. You have to create opportunities for that.
So, thank you for this conversation, but I'm not going to end it here because I have a little surprise for you. So, I'm going to read this out.
Okay.
It's for you.
Okay.
Hey, Sonal. It's probably the first time I'm actually writing to you since the vows I wrote before we got married
Oh, really? This is Mangalam?
Feels awkward yet refreshing. So much time, such memories, and all things mostly great have happened since. Personally, I've always been in awe of how you manage so many things while keeping your unwavering support for everyone in the family intact. It's not at all as easy as you make it look. It's a superpower. I'm lucky and grateful to God to have you in my life. Traveling with you is my favorite thing in the world. I will never forget the drive from Quebec Old Town to Montreal, or the walk in Florence, the many colors of Rajasthan, or the scary COVID experience in New York. Every trip plays like a movie in my head. Personally, your work ethic and preparedness always amazes me. You never take your position, talent, or knowledge for granted. This only reflects how passionate you are about this and how much you value it. It's rare and refreshing. Any organization in the world would be lucky to have you as their most precious resource. Finally, the most recent and also the most rewarding role, a mother. It's impressive how you've managed to ace the most challenging role in a manner only you can. Pani is lucky to be born to you. I vividly remember the day when she was unwell and wouldn't leave you and you had to go on air while the nanny was on leave. I don't even know how you managed. Not just that, but so many other things daily. I can't wait for her to grow up so that she can see and understand what a queen her mother is. It's just a privilege to be witnessing your journey from the best seat and get your love in return. Forever cheering from the sidelines, always in love, and perpetually in gratitude. M.
Wow, I'm so surprised to see this. As he said, this is the first time he's actually writing to me. It's so cool.
And this, you can remember this when you have those fights on air.
I mean, this is the support that I was talking about.
Yes.
I mean, every mother, every working mother, every woman needs it.
Yes.
I have it in him. Thank you so much. This is a great surprise that I got today.
So, Sonal, thank you so much for
Thank you.
your views. I am absolutely electrified by your passion, your commitment, your clarity. And I'm sure everybody who's watching this channel would get inspired, to produce their best and forge ahead irrespective of challenges, which you have certainly shown. I mean, you are an inspiring figure yourself. So thank you so much for this.
I'm so grateful you got me here. Very grateful for this. And thank you for this conversation. I think what you bring forward through these conversations in various aspects of a woman's life is so important.
Yes.
So thank you for doing this. Thank you.
Hello and namaste. I hope you've been watching these conversations that I have brought to you with some very remarkable women in our country. The conversations, as you know, are about anything and everything that matters to a woman, and then, of course, by corollary, to society. If you are enjoying these conversations, do please like, share, subscribe, so that others in your circle can also enjoy them. Thank you. Keep watching.